Welcome to another edition of Our City. As many of you know, the incidents of last week here in the city of Elizabeth generated a very large police presence. I want to assure all of the residents of our city that the Elizabeth Police Department worked very closely with the Union County Sheriff's Office, the Union County Prosecutor's Office, the FBI, and the State Police in conducting a very efficient and effective operation, not only in dismantling the explosive devices, but also in the apprehension of the suspect in nearby Linden. So I thank all of our citizens for their patience, their understanding, and as well as your phone calls and your advice on social media or through my office on how we can move forward together as a city. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Saturday, October 1st, I'm going to join members of the health department and the community. It will be our 4th annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk. This year's walk will be located at Kellogg Park in the North Elizabeth part of our community at the intersection of North and Madison Avenues. For more information, please contact 908-820-4250. I'm also going to discuss this walk with 2 public health nurses on the second half of the show, Miss Karen David and Miss Angelica Rodriguez. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events going on in the city of Elizabeth, please call our public information office at 908-820-4124. Please stay with us after these messages, where we're going to be back with the Garden Club here in the city of Elizabeth.
Why do we like it here? Let's just say the reasons are diverse. Kean University.
Welcome back to our show, where I'm joined by Miss Linda Weaver, who is the president of the Elizabeth Garden Club, and Miss Marianne Brenner, who is the vice president. Linda, Marianne, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is this the first time in a show for you?
Yes.
It is for me.
Yes.
You too, both of you. So, Linda, you've been in the city a long time, right?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. And we're not going to say how many years. We're just going to say born and raised.
We're going to stick with that.
We're going to stick with that. That's my story, and I'm done.
Done.
And Marianne, you're a homegrown Elizabeth girl too, right?
No, I'm from Roselle Park and Elizabeth, 23 years.
23 years.
Yeah.
And you're also very active, both of you, at St. Genevieve's Parish.
Correct.
Correct.
So the Garden Club. So first of all, Linda, you want to start? What is the Garden Club?
Well, we were established on May 24th, 1924.
Well, so it's not new.
It's not new. We have several projects that we do every year, one of which is the triangle that is alongside of Trinitas Hospital, Sheridan Park, and the Andrew Campbell Cancer Center. We plant there. We are part of the renovation of Chatfield Garden at Warrenanko Park. We have at Christmas time, we do gift bags for Holy Redeemer Health System for the visiting nurses to bring to patients who are homebound. We give a scholarship for horticulture to somebody in the area, to a student. And we do flower arrangements down at Trinitas every month.
And Marianne, how did you get involved with the Garden Club? Did Linda drag you out of church one day and say, you have to do this? You're the vice president. Linda, I'm sure you have tough elections, right?
Oh yes, they're fighting it, they're chomping at the bit just to be an officer. But yeah, Linda had asked me. I'll be a member for 5 years. She asked me 5 years ago if I wanted to join, if I was interested in doing these projects for the city of Elizabeth in and around and helping out people, and I gladly.
So what's your experience like so far, Marianne?
It's been a lot of fun. We do all these plantings and we work with each other. It's a great group of ladies. We have 23 active members that are in the group. We meet once a month. And we have 2 lifetime members, and that's the limit that we have right now for the Garden Club. And we're also with the Garden Club of New Jersey is who we're affiliated with. And New Jersey is also part of the National Garden Club, and that headquarters is out of St. Louis, Missouri.
And wasn't that one of your luncheons once at Liberty Hall? Was that,
yes.
Was that the Garden
That
Club?
was our 90th
right.
anniversary.
Right. That was an exciting afternoon.
Yes,
See all the
it was
women.
lovely. It really was.
So the 90th anniversary of the Elizabeth, or what Marianne was talking about with New Jersey.
No, the Elizabeth Garden Club was 90 years old.
There were some people that probably were at the first meeting too.
We don't want to say.
So Linda, the projects you mentioned, whenever I drive by Sheridan Park, years ago, that was just a rundown thing. The city put the
correct.
monument in.
correct.
If I remember, the first person to call me about it, I think, was Alice Hosapple.
Absolutely.
And said, hey, Mayor, do something with that corner there. And then we had to do the records, and we found it was named Sheridan Park. And
That's right.
So the work that you put in it, yeah.
Alice is wonderful. She is our backbone. She and Eileen Killian, because Eileen had a flower shop here too in Elizabeth. But Cindy Copa, who is a master gardener, she's the one that really laid out what plants could go in there, what would survive. And we're very grateful to her, because if you drive past it, probably at the end of the summer it doesn't look as good, but in the spring it's really beautiful.
It still looks really good. I mean, it's maybe fall flowers, but it still looks great.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Cindy. She's been doing stuff like this
forever.
for a
Yes.
really long time. So Marianne, you talked about the affiliations with the other clubs. How does the Elizabeth Garden Club affiliate with the Jersey and/or the National Club? Is there a dues, or do they give you advice, or do you work on their project? How does that work?
Well, Linda, you could.
Well,
We're going to go to Linda on that
Yeah,
one.
we're going to go to Linda
Yeah.
on that one as the president.
No,
I
we're
defer.
a member of the Garden Club of the state of New Jersey. We do pay dues to them. And they insure the clubs
Okay.
for any activities that we have.
So you have 23 active members. Correct. What are the lifetime members? Do they kind of sit around and watch? Is that what the deal is for a lifetime member?
Well,
What do they do?
Jean Shields, remember
Oh, yeah,
Jean?
sure.
Well, she is a lifetime member, and unfortunately she's been not able to be at a lot of the meetings,
Right.
but she's still part
A
of it.
master gardener has training, right? Is that
Absolutely.
Can you talk about some of that stuff that Cindy has?
Cindy has been doing it for many years, and what they do is they check the soil. They can tell you what kind of plants will grow in certain areas, and what, if you want to use one particular plant, what you need to fill the ground with. She's really great. She has her own design company, which is Gardener's Touch. And she has been working on establishing, and forgive me, I want to read this, the Elizabeth Conservancy Environmental Education Center in Petersburg, or Peterstown. And so
I think everybody knew what you said.
Yeah.
They know it is. Yeah, I'm worried
but
about
we're
that.
very lucky to have her. And Mariana Tremontana is another one who has another member who has become a master gardener, but that's in this just recently. And she's our liaison with the National Garden Club.
So switching gears a little bit, Wreaths Across America, is that your program, Mary? Who am I going to go to with that question? What is Wreaths Across America first, and how did it?
Linda can start, and then I'll explain what we do in Elizabeth.
And then Marion, so we broke it down some.
It's better to hear it this way. It's much
Yeah.
more.
Chris Wallace does a Power Player of the Week on Sunday on his news show. And he was talking about Merrill Worcester, who runs the Worcester Wreath Company in Maine. And he, when he was 12 years old, had won a trip to Washington, D.C. And with most people, when you go down there, you explore Arlington National Cemetery. And he was very impressed with it. So when he started the Worcester Wreath Company in 1992, he had quite a number of wreaths left over. And he remembered Arlington. So the then Senator of Maine, Olympia Snowe, through his office, or through her office, arranged for him to place the wreaths in a section of Arlington that had started to see a decline of visitors. And that was the beginning of it. And Chris Wallace became involved because his family started to put the wreaths out. And when he had it on national television, we heard about it. And with our 90th anniversary, plus Elizabeth's 350th anniversary, we combined resources and became co-sponsors, and that was the beginning.
Marianne, you're
So-
going to fill in.
I'm going to fill in. So then what happens is we take, this year coming up, it will be Saturday, December the 12th. And at 12, the 17th, 12/17.
I was going to say I have the
December the
17th.
17th. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, something else that's going on that day.
No. At 12 noon, we'll be at, as we did for the past 2 years, at the First Presbyterian Church Cemetery on Broad Street in the center of Elizabeth. It's at 12 noon because that time is set by Arlington National Cemetery in Washington. So all cemeteries across the United States begin their ceremony at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So, and if you're in California, you're going to start at 9 in the morning. And that the ceremony begins at the same time, just to have the consistency of where everybody's going to be. Each ceremony begins with a moment of silence for the veterans that are in. And in our cemetery, there's many from the Revolutionary War, where they go back that far. And then we have the Elizabeth Honor Guard is there, and they post the colors. Then I sing the national anthem.
Shocking.
I know it is shocking, but and then
You do a good job at it too.
Thank
I've
you.
heard you
She
sing
does.
it. I say that kiddingly, Marianne, but you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. Then we have an invocation by someone from the local clergy, and then what happens is we have a veteran, read a summary of this event, of what's going on and why the event takes place, and then the Honor Guard gives a gun salute, and we just like to thank you for letting the Honor Guard come and do this, because it is police and firemen from the area, from Elizabeth and from Union County. So, they're coming off the road for that time to do this for us, to honor the people in the cemetery. And then Detective Alfredo Beltran, who's on the Elizabeth Police Department, he performs taps. And he did it also at the 9/11 ceremony just the other day. Then the whole ceremony takes place and is wrapped up probably in about 15 minutes. And then we go around and place the wreaths on the graves of veterans, and it's done by anybody who's there that day. We have volunteers from the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the Knights of Columbus and Union had come out with a contingency. We have people from the Sons and Daughters of the American Revolution and the members of the Garden Club, and any volunteer that wants to come
How
out.
have you identified the graves at the First Presbyterian as veterans? I mean, that's...
Well, you have to read the headstones.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
So
and then we
you've
put a
read them
small
all, what I'm getting at.
Yes. We went through and we put a small marker. We go either the day or two before, and we place a small, kind of like a stick there, so that we know on that morning, instead of just wandering aimlessly through the cemetery, we already know because the marker is there. They take the wreath and they place it.
Now,
in front.
since you talked, are there veterans from the War of 1812 or the Civil War in this
yes.
location? There are.
Oh, yes.
So it's
Yes.
not only the Revolution.
No.
No,
Second
it's every
War.
yeah, all the way to the Second World War too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because the last grave was it the Second World War?
Second
That
World
was the
War.
last grave?
That's yes, and that's over, I think, near the newer part of the building. There's a new building on the one side.
Right.
It's over on that side.
Oh, so there is somebody up to World War II.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people.
Go ahead.
It's like walking through Elizabeth streets because
I know.
the families are all there. It's a
Right. The
wonderful
names of the
church.
families on the headstones
Are the
are
streets of
streets of Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you get funding and who pays for this? And I know you thank the city, but what? I
Well,
want to go back to two
last-
questions.
Yeah.
What's the
This
city involved and
year-
who pays for it? Right.
This year, we've got the the Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders, who are the sponsors, and we're really grateful to them because they're paying the bulk of it. And then we depend on individual contributions, which I just would like to say to go to the website wreathsacrossamerica.org, hit donate, and then it asks you for your local area that you want to contribute.
Oh, so
And
this
New
national
Jersey-
effort,
Yes.
if you donate through the website, it will go to the locality
That's
you request
correct.
it goes to.
Correct. And you type in Elizabeth and it pops right up.
Okay. And
easy.
are there any descendants of some of those families that maybe the World War II guy that are around, or you don't really know? And when you say sons and daughters of the American Revolution, do they have any knowledge of some of these people? Not.
It's funny because there's very little information about that
Yeah.
area.
That's why I asked that question off the wall.
And
because I
I'm
was curious.
hoping the church itself is a wonderful treasure trove. And I'm hoping that we can do a tour after this ceremony this year, because it just is such a great historic site. It's one of the oldest churches in New Jersey.
Well, some of the graves go back to the 1600s, right? And
That's
yeah,
correct.
Even before, way before the
Yes,
Revolution.
even
there's
colonial skirmishes.
Right.
You see that on the headstone.
colonial skirmish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ladies, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show and talk about the Garden Club and Wreaths Across America, and also for all the work you do. I think it's terrific. I enjoy visiting, and hopefully I'm going to see you soon.
Well, we always
Thanks for letting
enjoy
us come.
seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to
Thank
thank Miss Linda Weaver, Miss Marianne Brenner for their work on the Garden Club and Wreaths Across America. Please stay with us after these messages. We're back with more about the Breast Cancer Awareness Walk in the City of Elizabeth.